Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Ella and let's talk about all the books I read in June because the month is almost over. Not quite, we have one more day, but I just finished a book and I'm in the middle of a couple, but there's no way I will actually finish another book before tomorrow evening. So let's wrap it up and tell you what I read because June? No, I did not read a lot. I set myself a TBR of 8 books. I think I read 2. I read a total of 6 books and I'm not even remember if this was on the TBR or not, but I know that these 2 were. I hope they were, because if not, future Ella will check and let you guys know. But out of the 8 books I read, I believe I read 2 or 3, which is good considering how much I read in total, because it was not a lot. It was not a lot, but I was busy the whole month. I didn't read for 3 weeks straight. And considering I didn't read for 3 weeks straight, I did finish 6 books. I guess 6 books in a week was pretty good. In my defense, I finished my semester, so all I'm doing is packing up and getting my apartment ready for me to move. So right now, I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks, reading a lot at night. I had a tattoo appointment where I read a ton. Yeah, that's all I can tell you really, but let's dive into what I read and if it was any good. I picked, I believe, 8 books that I wanted to read. Out of those, I read 2. I read 2. Wow. I mean, 6 in total in 1 week is pretty good. Let's dive right into the books I read. Let's start with the ones that were on my TBR, which, for example, was First Base. And this was really sweet because it's a baseball romance, and I have gotten so much into baseball back in March, and now it's almost July and I'm still into it. I have not had the time at all to involve myself with anything. So I do have a lot to catch up on any baseball games that I wanted to watch, and also hockey, because where was time? I was at a festival, I was doing so much for class. I had presentations and a report and an oral exam, and I did it all and I was stressed. But however, I still read this. I read this mostly at my tattoo appointment and it was so good. It's more like fluffy. It's not really YA, but also it kind of is. And basically, Maggie is a photographer for the Chicago's baseball team, and Tommy transfers from San Diego over to Chicago. And he really has bad press, and basically this is his last chance at really making it and keeping his career alive. And he goes to a club to basically celebrate that the season starts and that he's on the team and everything. And there he not really meets Maggie, but he runs into her and he offers to take her home, just because she wanted to leave and she was tired and everything. And that the paparazzis take some pictures off and it goes absolutely viral, and the PR team makes them enter a fake relationship to make sure his publicity isn't quite as negative. So they start a fake dating kind of thing, but there is a connection between these two, and he's this bad guy, but is he really? Because he does a lot of good stuff. And just Maggie, she had this whole backstory and why she didn't really want to enter a new relationship and everything, and such a good book. I ate this up. I mean, it's really short. I think it has like less than 300 pages. Yeah, 230. So this was really short, but so good and such a quick paced read, and I ate this up at my tattoo appointment and I loved it. Next up we have Rival, and this was a buddy read with my best friend, and honestly I don't even know what to say. I just finished this today and I'm still not sure what to think of this really, because it had a lot of really good parts, but it also had a lot of parts that were like meh. So I'm not saying any spoilers, but basically Fallon and Maddox, you know Maddox from the 2 previous books, and Fallon is his stepsister, and they used to have a thing going on like 3 years prior. They were like 16 and she got shipped off to boarding school. She left and no contact at all. And she comes back absolutely hating him, and he also kind of really hates her. But this is kind of like a love-hate relationship, because they can't stand each other, but they also can't stay away. And it just, there's this whole backstory going on, and maybe also like dark elements in here. Like, I wouldn't say this is really dark romance, but it's also not a normal romance. Don't know how to say this. I mean, it did have some good parts, but it's nowhere near as good as Penelope Douglas's new books. So I don't know, maybe I would give this I don't really like the whole star rating thing, but maybe this is like a 3-ish stars. Like, it has a good story, but it also has a lot of points where I'm like, besides the whole step sibling thing, that is something I don't like. But it's also, it's not really a bully thing, but the whole series is like bullying and hating, so not too sure. But if you do like step sibling and bullying, and mind you, they are 18 in here, but it is Penelope Douglas, so it is spicy, it is kind of dark, I guess. Next up we have The Bridge Kingdom. I'm pretty sure this was from my TBR from the previous month, because it's not on this month list. I checked. And this was really good. I love this so much. So in this book, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Me being German, I would like her to pronounce her Lara, but is it Lara? Is it Lara? I don't know. And his name is Aaron. And they get married to unify their kingdoms. They're from rivaling kingdoms, and they're getting married to unify this. But what he doesn't know is that she's actually trying to kind of like assassinate him. And in his kingdom, it's this whole bridge kingdom, and there's like a bridge that is really, really important for this kingdom, and she wants it for her kingdom. So she gets sent there. She's a trained assassin and trying to, you know, him. And while she's there, when they're already married, she's trying to stick to her plan, but she finally sees a side that she didn't expect, and now she's trying to decide, so what facts are actually true, and is it true what she's learning now, or is it true what she's learned all her life? So this is a really, really good book. I absolutely love this because it is kind of marriage of convenience, kind of one-sided enemies to lovers, and just, there's the second book already out, and I need to read this after the ending of this one because the cliffhanger in here is major. But I haven't had time yet. But this book was a 10 out of 10. I loved it, and I can't wait to read the second book and continue the series because so good. The last physical book I read is The Midnight Library, and this book has been on my TBR for years, I guess. For really years. But I finally read it, and I really enjoyed this because it was really, really good. It was a lot about philosophy, and in her life, Nora dies, or, well, you know, but she ends up at the Midnight Library, which is a library where the time is midnight and the time's not moving, and while it's not moving, she can enter the multiverse basically and see how she's doing in different lives, and she faces her regrets, and she faces the lives she could have had if things went differently. And in this book we basically follow her through a series of different lives and see how she how her mindset changes, and she's trying to figure out if she wants to live, if she doesn't want to live, because her life really went from bad to worse. And it's such a deep, deep, deep book in kind of showing you how to, I guess, appreciate life more. And it's really just so good, and I loved reading this so much, and I'm so glad that I read this at this point in life, because it's been so busy for me recently and just so many major changes that this book was really, I feel like it was meant for me in this time, and it was really, really good, and I absolutely loved reading it. Okay, we have 2 more books which I don't have physical copies of, and book number 1 is The Long Shot by Hannah Gray. This is book number 2. It's really spicy. The whole series is really spicy. It's about a hockey player. His name is Colt and her name is Paige. And the book basically starts off with them being married and breaking up because it's really not going well. They have so many issues, and Colt is not really caring, and he's not the husband he's supposed to be, and Paige is fed up and annoyed, and it's really not working well. And they've been dating since high school, but Paige finally had enough and leaves, and what Colt doesn't do is that he's not chasing after her, basically. So she tries to file for a divorce, and then a couple of years, I'm not sure about the timeline really, but a long while later, Colt has a heart attack, and she's still his emergency contact, so they do have to face each other again, and Paige moves back in to support him and kind of like nurse him back to health, because he's not meant to be alone in this time, and there's just a couple of other issues and everything. And in this time of them being back at the house together, they kind of try to sort out the issues, and it's a second chance romance where they were already married before, and this was really so beautifully done, so spicy on the other side, that so good. I listened to this as an audiobook, and what can I say? Well done from the narrators, because good stuff. But it was a really, really good book. I can't even say if I preferred the first one or the second one more, because they were both really different, but both really, really good. And I loved that you had like little cameos of the first book in the second one as well, because it's the same friend group. And I love just seeing little bits and pieces of that, but also seeing a whole new story, because I don't think I've ever read a book where the couple has been married before and now needed to find back to each other, and this was just so good. And the last book we're going to talk about is Caught Up by Nevessa Allen, because I finally got my hands on it, and I also listened to it as an audiobook because the narrator is Teddy Hamilton. Such a good narrator, honestly. His voice, insane. And I had high hopes for Caught Up, and they were all met. So in Caught Up we have Nico, and we have, oh Jesus, what's her name? Lauren. Pretending like I didn't finish it this morning as well. Her name's Lauren. But Nico and Lauren, they had something going on in high school, and it didn't go well for several reasons. But Nico is kind of obsessed with her and kind of like keeping tabs on her. He's in the mafia, he's a biker boy, and just, you know, morally gray, more like a red flag kind of guy. And Lauren is a spicy creator, and it's just such a cool thing. This whole book is basically about them going their own ways, because they have this past and they don't think the future aligns, because Lauren really, she doesn't like Nico for a bunch of reasons, but she doesn't know the whole truth, and really just their vibing together is insane. But like, he's in the mafia, so you can guess how things are going at some point. But he's also trying a little bit to get out of it, and it's just this whole thing, and stalker vibes. Just, you know, kind of like Lights Out, but fully different. So if you read and loved Lights Out, this book is just as good, but I wouldn't compare the books fully, because Nico is such a different person from Josh, and yes, he does have a lot of humor as well, but it's a fully different character, and this is what I love most. But what I'm sad about, there were not a lot of biking scenes, and I was like, I wanted myself a good biker boy, so put him on a bike and get him going. I adored the book. It was funny, it was spicy, it was really spicy. Especially, I love that Lauren has this whole content creation thing about the spicy stuff, and he's possessive and he's obsessed, but he also lets her do her thing, and he supports her and everything, and they still have so many things they need to face, so many things they need to sort out, and just the whole story with what's going on in the background. A lot of drama, lots of dark topics, lots and lots of spice. It's so well done. And Teddy Hamilton as narrator. That's all I can say. 5 out of 5. Easy. So good. So that was my wrap up. Let me know if you've read any of these, or let me know what you guys read. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.